The murder of a young Cape Town man sends shockwaves across the country. The DA wants to stop top NPA head interviews, and government says it's happy with the state of Eskom. Hello there, I'm Sifiso Zulu.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
The community of Khayelitsha in Cape Town is reeling after the murder of a 16-year-old boy in a suspected hate crime. Wakhanya Mhlanganisi was allegedly assaulted by a 17-year-old boy and later succumbed to his injuries inside C. In a statement, the police say, despite clear communication from SAPS that the motive for the murder has not yet been established, some media reports have suggested that the incident was homophobic in nature. The police say they find it necessary to correct this misinformation to prevent unnecessary alarm within a community that's already burdened by high levels of violent crimes. Meanwhile, LGBTQIA+ activists protested outside the Khayelitsha Magistrates Court, calling for justice as the suspect appeared. The DA has threatened the Justice Department with a letter to interdict interviews for the head of the NPA. Minister Morroco announced that she received a letter from the party before the interviews were due to start. 6 candidates are being interviewed for the top prosecutor post to replace Shamila Batoyi as her term comes to an end in January. The DA has been vocal about its objection to the shortlisting of Advocate Menzi Simelane, who was removed from the post in 2012 after the Constitutional Court found his appointment by former President Jacob Zuma to be invalid.
Throughout his interview, Advocate Adrian Mop has been careful not to conflate the perception of a flawed NPA with real cracks and problems within the institution. But one of the panelists, Ntabiseng Sipanya Mokhale from the Commission for Gender Equality, asked Mop about the views expressed by current NPA head Shamila Batoyi when she appeared before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating the police.
She spoke about underestimating the challenge, and she hasn't always articulated what she means by that. You'll recall when she started off, she was very negative about the state of the organization. And in the recent past, she's tried to walk back some of those comments.
Mop was also critical of how Batoyi dealt with allegations of the NPA being captured.
If we want to build a team, then we must know who did what, so that people are afforded an opportunity to explain their conduct.
During his interview, Mop was also questioned on the 2014 murder case of Shreen Davani, a prosecution which he led and the state lost, to which he responded that they were not wrong to prosecute. Khomzo Modise, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
As government reflects on the year, Cabinet says it has succeeded in turning Eskom around from a struggling state-owned entity into a profit-making utility. After more than a decade of load shedding and poor management, Eskom reported profits of more than 24 billion rand in the first 6 months of the current financial year. Government has credited this performance to its Eskom turnaround plan, which focuses on financial recovery, improving operational efficiency and implementing structural reforms.
In the same period, Eskom delivered consistent energy supply with only 4 days of load shedding. Electricity supply reliability stood at 96% in 2024-25 financial year, improving to 98% year to date.
ActionSA is continuing with its challenge of the classification of a top-secret police report on the conduct of presidential protection officers involved in the Phala Phala saga. The party has launched a formal appeal ahead of taking the matter to court. National Chairperson Michael Beaumont says the steps taken are meant to ensure that information is not withheld from the public and that President Cyril Ramaphosa does not operate above the law.
In the event that this report is not handed over, ActionSA will approach the courts because it is clear from the Public Protector's report and all understandings on this issue that members who are charged with the protection of the President did exactly that, rather than investigating this as a matter of criminality.
And at least 19 people have died in Morocco when a building collapsed. The 2 adjacent structures, which housed 8 families, collapsed overnight in the city of Fez. Images from the pre-dawn scene showed first responders carrying a corpse in a grey body bag to waiting emergency vehicles as residents gathered to watch the rescue efforts. It's not clear how the building collapsed. Bafana Bafana has assembled for camp ahead of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, which takes place later this month in Morocco. South Africa are one of the pre-tournament favourites, having finished third at the last edition of AFCON. Tolagele Mganga has more from their training camp in Pretoria.
Hugo Broos has questioned if FIFA take African football seriously after they gave European clubs until the 15th of December to release players for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations. That decision means that Broos is without 4 of his European-based players for camp here at the HPC Centre, with the likes of Siangezana and Lyle Foster only joining up with the team next week. That's before they depart for Morocco on Wednesday, ahead of their tournament opener against Angola. On the player front, Broos has hit out at Mbegezeli Mbogazi, who believes he's starting to think he's a star. That's after the player was late to arrive for camp, having missed his flight from Durban after celebrating Orlando Pirates' Carling Cup knockout win. Additionally, Broos has also questioned the timing of Mbogazi's move to MLS side Chicago Fire, saying the player should have waited until after the World Cup to assess the options available to him. Despite all of this off-field controversy, the coach has called on South Africans to back the boys, believing that they can, at least at the minimum, reach the semi-finals of this year's tournament. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News, High Performance Center, Pretoria.
And that's it from us. Thank you for watching. For more, you can go to the Prime Media Plus app and the EWN app.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.